This video I'm going to show you how to use display and skip logic here in Qualtrics. This refers to these questions, kind of test questions I set up in a prior video that was called Qualtrics question types. So you can refer back to that if you want to know how I got these questions here. Let's suppose that I only want to ask this question for the males, just to do something straightforward and simple. What I'm going to use is I have a choice of display logic or skip logic. It's much easier usually to use display logic. If I'm clicked on this question, that means it's blue here. Scroll down. What you're going to see here is this right here, display logic. Okay? I'm going to click on that. And it's going to ask this question. It says display this question only if the following question is met. So I go down here and I say, well, I'm going to base it off of a question, a prior question. Now, this is most of these other things you're probably not going to use. Embedded data is data maybe that you already had from your participants. Maybe you had a file with their emails in it and other information about them, and you invited them to the survey based on their email. But this embedded data might be other information that was in the file about them. But usually we're going to do it as if it was based on question because that's the most common. And then you click which question, and it gives you both the question name and the actual wording. So I'm only going to do it if what is your gender, okay, that question, male is selected. So it will only ask this question if they're male, or I could have done it, I don't remember what I said I was going to do. Okay, so I only want to do it in that particular case. I could also do it as not selected. That's easier if I want it to be everybody but the males. Okay, all right. So I can also add a second level if I want to. For example, if I want to say, what is your gender is male, and if something else is the case. So maybe, and let's say, what is your job is faculty. Okay, so in this case, this particular question now will only ask it if they're male and they're faculty. Okay, or it could be male and not faculty or whatever. And I can have as many levels here as I want. I can also change this to an or. If I do it this particular way, then with this selected in both cases, then it will go to everybody who's male or is faculty. So it'll go to all males, it'll go to all faculty regardless of gender. Okay, so I'll have some females in the data set if they're faculty. So it doesn't require both. I can have a male who's not faculty, and I can have a female who is faculty in this. So I can use that and or. And I just click on save, and it'll show it here at the beginning. So it'll only show this to that situation. And you can test it out to see if it works by hitting the preview button and working through it as if you are these various things to see whether the question's displayed to you or not. Okay, so you can test it out to see if that's working. Okay, so that's display logic. Let's say I want to use skip. Okay, right here, I'm going to say, I'm going to use skip logic. I'll show you what that can do. That pops open, okay? So what it's going to do is it's going to skip from this, after they answer this question, it's to skip from here to somewhere else. Let's say I'm going to skip to the end of the survey. If their age is less than 18. So maybe I only want to give this survey to people who are 18 and older. I can just say skip from this question at the end of the survey if what they respond here is less than 18. Okay? Or I can skip to any other spot. Okay? All right? What percentage of I can just skip across a whole row of questions. Now this is something that's useful if you're not using blocks. Blocks will be a subject of an entirely different video, something more complicated, and you want to skip past a set of questions in particular cases. You can just do that here. It's also something that can be used with blocks to skip to a whole new block. And again, I'll cover that in blocking videos. So anyway, that's something that can be done here. And this type of question is something I might commonly do because we only want data from people who are 18 and over. And I would move this question. Questions can be moved around just by sliding them. I would move that question up then to be my very first question after my consent document there, so that they don't answer that question unless that's the case. So that's the basics of how to use the skip and the display tools here in Qualtrics.